perhaps he probably would have used that as a power to help him get a much stronger form. But it just kind of feels a little weird because he was a main character in the series, and seeing him be reduced to just a monster that's gooey. I'm fine with Rita Repulsa as she is, but Golder just seems a little like strange to look back on. Not that he needed to be some sort of a practical suit monster, but at least make him sort of like the kind of being that could at least use these powers as sort of like a take on Green Lantern, if that makes sense. Obviously, you're going to get the Green Lantern comparisons or Mr. Fantastic comparisons if you want to use his powers and compare them to Mr. Fantastic, but it's just like, I don't know, man. There are just some things about this movie that I kind of feel like I'd split on because I like the writing of it, and I do appreciate the characters that are put in the movie, but the lack of rewatchability does make it a little disappointing, especially when there's like so little that makes someone encourage you to revisit it. People complain that Batman v Superman is too long, but at least like the more you watch it, the more you can understand it. Unless you're one of those like dipshits on Twitter that doesn't understand things beyond 1+1. Uh, a lot of other franchises have like ongoing story arcs that are long that are kind of discouraging for some people that aren't just used to watching TV shows or films that have like a very small amount that's recorded and watch them in one go. But at least you can at least like enjoy a huge chunk of him and then take a break and then go back to it as long as you keep track. This I feel feels more like a bit of a test pilot done as a movie. There are things I do like about the 2017 movie, and there's things I do wish could be better done. I don't hate it. It's probably the best Power Rangers movie we got, but that's not really saying much because one of them was already just a way to capitalize on the success that of a brand that it was back in the 90s, and the other one was meant to be just a pilot that was put in theaters for a season that was not well received at the time. And I do have one other thing to say. I find it interesting that the 2017 movie was put in at a very interesting time period because this was before we got things like Bandai skimping out on details and paint applications for figures, canceling product lines, um, the fact that they're splitting up from Saban, Hasbro being the next toy maker for Power Rangers, then they're buying Power Rangers as a brand, and here we are now. Hasbro owns Power Rangers. We're starting to see more signs of them splitting up from Toei to make their own series, one of which includes a movie that will be put on Netflix, and it appears to have no MMPR influences whatsoever. So we'll see how this turns out because I'm genuinely curious to see what we'll get from Jonathan Entwistle's own take on Power Rangers, especially when it comes to them trying to make himself very different. Jonathan Entwistle being one of the writers of the movie series, by the way. This new shared TV universe has a lot that makes me interested, just because I want to see them like show their true interest in appealing towards casual audiences and big fans and expanding the brand. Because even though Power Rangers is recognizable, it's not to the same extent that we as fans know. Like, I can name all the seasons from MMPR to Dino Fury, no problem. But the average person is going to be like, oh, Tommy, oh, Jason, oh, Dragon Zord, oh, Tiger Zord, oh, Zordon. And there's a huge difference between like a fan like me and a fan like the example I just mentioned. So if Hasbro wants to go over that sort of route and make their franchise bigger, I wish them luck. This movie would be a good way to learn from how to make a movie for Power Rangers, what to learn from the mistakes that Saban did in terms of marketing it, and more importantly, how to change the brand for a better future.